Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. Amma ba'd. Inshallah, we'll have a very short session today. It's Friday as well, and everybody will want to read Surah Al-Kahf when you get home. So inshallah, we'll wrap up in 10-12 minutes, inshallah, 15 minutes at the most. The conclusion so far is that from yesterday, that the system adopted in Saudi Arabia is based on a predetermined calendar, which is known as al-Qura. Very famous. You can go on the internet, you can research it, you'll find on the internet the predetermined calendar for 30 years. I think the current one, it ends in 2029. So after 2029, they'll probably make another one for the next 30 years. So it's a 30-year calendar. And what we've got to appreciate is there is nothing wrong with having a predetermined calendar. In fact, it's good. It's good. Why is it good? Because it can help people, for example, people living in the UK, if the calendar's formula is not flawed, if the formula is correct, then it helps us in the UK because you will know exactly when Ramadan is. You will know when Eid al-Fitr is, Eid al-Adha is. You'll also know when first Muharram is. You'll know when Ashura is. So if you want to book holidays, it's very easy. If you wanted to book a holiday, you can confidently say that this formula is correct, it's not flawed, and most probably first Ramadan will be on this date. Obviously, we will always resort to naked eye sighting, as I've mentioned many times. So there's nothing wrong with having a predetermined calendar. However, when the formula is flawed, then it's a big problem. And the formula which I mentioned yesterday, the formula of al-Qura calendar, which is very important to appreciate, is after new moon conjunction. If on that particular day in the evening, if moonset is after sunset, even by 1 minute, then the next day is automatically the first, i.e. the new month commences the next day. It's as simple as that. Because of this formula, the al-Qura calendar is always going to be 1 full day earlier than everybody else. That's the reason Saudi Arabia has Eid, Ramadan, everything first before the rest of the world. And those countries who've signed up to the al-Qura calendar, because of diplomatic reasons, because of foreign policy, etc., mainly the Middle East countries, they also have the same date. There's only one country which doesn't follow them all the time. Does anybody know which country that is in the Middle East? Oman, well done. You can see this gentleman has knowledge, mashallah. Yes, Oman. Oman does not follow the rulings of the al-Qura calendar, i.e. the rulings that come out of Saudi Arabia. So, moving on, it's very important to appreciate the facts. Something else we've got to understand. This now comes down to astronomy again. The moon, as it moves each day, it moves towards the west. So if the moon is sighted in Saudi Arabia, it then continues to travel. It should be sighted in Morocco. It's towards the west. It should be sighted in America, North America. That's even more to the west, away from Saudi Arabia. But that doesn't happen. That does not happen. There's some also basic logical issues which we need to consider. Anyway, moving away, this is the reality. This is the reality of the al-Qura calendar. And what usually happens is, the layman, even some scholars as well, because of a failure to appreciate the facts, and because of a failure to provide facts themselves and evidence, they resort to what we call emotional blackmail. What do I mean by that? Emotional blackmail is that, how can this happen in Saudi Arabia? It's a Muslim country. We have the Haramain Sharifain there, etc. How can this happen in Saudi Arabia? First of all, this is not even a valid argument. It's not even an argument which you should even entertain. You shouldn't even waste your time behind such statements. However, if you really want to make these statements and accuse people like myself of Saudi bashing, okay, well, look at the current status quo of Saudi Arabia. What is not happening in Saudi Arabia at the moment? You tell me. What is not happening? Wahan kya nahi ho raha hai? Everything is happening. Saudi Arabia at the moment, it's become the, Urdu mein kehte hain adda. It's become the headquarters of every vice you can think of. Music concerts, invitation to stars who are part of the music industry. This Ramadan, there was even talk of banning the Ramadan prayers, on live on television, like it comes every year, until there was pressure and they backtracked and they allowed that the Haramain, the prayers in the Haramain, they will be broadcast live. They only backtracked after international pressure. Local pressure, there's no such thing as local pressure. I'll just give you one example. Another question which people pose is, today I want to make it like questions which might be buzzing in your head. I'm trying to read them and I'm trying to answer them. One question you might pose to me is, what about the scholars of Saudi Arabia? Where are they? Have they all gone to sleep? Are they not aware of the flaws of the Qura calendar? Are they not aware of the formula, the flawed formula of the Qura calendar? Yes, they are aware. They are aware. However, even if they wanted to initiate any change, do you think that's possible? No, it's not. I'll just give you one little example that any scholar in Saudi Arabia who says anything, he's locked up. That's the reality of the matter. He is locked up. And if they deem him a bigger threat, then he is also executed. Just 2 years ago, or I think during COVID, they executed many scholars who had been in jail for several years. I'll just give you this example of this scholar. This is very recent, 2019. His name is Sheikh Umar al-Muqbil. He was arrested after he criticized what is known in Saudi as SGA, the Saudi General Authority, and there's something also called the GEA, the General Entertainment Authority of the kingdom. Because he criticized them, when he saw all these concerts, music, nudity, what you see in the West, the madness of the West. When he saw that on his doorstep in Saudi Arabia, any person with even an iota of Iman, their Iman is going to flare up and they're going to speak up. Anybody would speak up. Especially when you are living in a land which contains, the two most holy, sacred sites of the Muslim Ummah. So this scholar, Umar al-Muqbil, he spoke up and he criticized the policies of the Saudi General Authority and the GEA, the General Entertainment Authority. What happens is, they put it so nicely in the news article, Saudi scholar held, meaning he was arrested. He was arrested and put basically behind bars just for raising his voice on this issue. Just for raising his voice on this issue. And I've not had time to check yet, but I'm pretty sure he'll probably still be inside. Either you stay inside or you sign an agreement and you're allowed to come outside. It's as simple as that. I'll give you another example of a very famous Saudi scholar. What's his name? Sheikh Al-Arifi. You might have heard of him. I personally listened to his bayans. They are in Arabic, and his Arabic, mashallah, is very eloquent, very clear, that even people like myself, we can understand it, alhamdulillah. He doesn't speak the Barbary Arabic, the street Arabic. He's a very outspoken scholar. He's a very influential scholar. Do you know how many followers he's got on Twitter? 10 million. 10 million followers on Twitter. If somebody has 10,000, you think, aha, Eid ho gayi. Yeah? He has got 10 million followers on Twitter. Very vocal. He speaks out on all issues. Very knowledgeable, mashallah, as well. However, even a person like him, since last 4-5 years, since MBS, has risen to power, person like Arifi, he's gone quiet. He's gone quiet. You don't hear about him anymore. he's an imam, I think in Riyadh, if I remember correctly. He just does his imamat, he does his Juma bayan, and he goes home. No lectures, nothing. If he does give a lecture, it will be, jaise hum kehte hain, 6 number ke andar. Okay? It will be within the 6 points, basically. Ajib. And he's an outspoken scholar, and he was also sent to jail as well. So, it's a choice you have to make. You either go to jail, you could get assassinated, you could get killed, or you make the choice that, look, you just got to keep quiet, put your head down and carry on. So, this is not an issue about where are the scholars of Saudi Arabia. If you are going to pose that question, then you need to be aware of all the other realities of Saudi Arabia, especially at the current time. The other question people ask is there any attempt at, naked eye sighting in Saudi Arabia? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. In Saudi Arabia, attempts are made to sight the moon. There are official Hilal committees appointed by the government. But remember, the day they go to sight the moon, it's a day early. Because the Ummul Qura calendar is always a day early. They're never going to sight the moon. And the sad thing is, none of, these people who are inside these official Hilal committees, they are experts. They are, many of them are astronomers. Many of them are scholars. They never sight the moon because it's not there. However, there'll be one, I raised this question yesterday. I don't know if anybody's brought me an answer. That why would a person resort to false moon sighting claim? Anybody got an answer? Has anybody thought on this? Or you were just too busy during the day with other things, ibadat, inshallah. So I'll still leave that question to you. Coming back to this, there's always one or two people in Saudi Arabia, I forgot the name of the area, very famous, I think it's near Riyadh somewhere. They always say we have sighted the moon. Now Saudi Arabia, they follow the Hanbali school of fiqh. Okay? According to them, even if one person came and claimed that I have sighted the moon, that's enough for them. So that one person, his sighting always coincides with the Ummul Qura calendar. And he will raise his hand up, I've seen the moon. Bismillah, tomorrow is the first. The other thing to appreciate is that out of the 12 months of the year, this official sighting which Saudi claims is only done in how many months? Who knows? 4. So the rest of the 8 months, that is just pure Ummul Qura. Even 12 months is Ummul Qura, but they say no. For the 4 important Islamic months, we do have proper sighting. What are those 4 months? Muharram, the beginning of the new Islamic year. So we have sighting for Muharram, we have sighting for Ramadan, we have sighting for Shawwal because of Eid al-Fitr, and we have sighting for Dhul Hijjah. Okay? Now, that's their claim. But the reality is something else. Something else you should think about is, if you're not sighting the moon for 8 months of the year, and then you go out and claim to sight it for these 4 months, what's going to happen? There's going to be problems. Because you've not got an established system. I'll give you an example. Those of you who follow Saudi Arabia, you have this problem every year. What problem do you have before Ramadan? Come on, it's been rumbling on for the last 2, 3, 4 years, even more. What problem do you have every year before Ramadan? What do we have before Ramadan? Sha'ban. We have Sha'ban. You have a problem every year with Sha'ban. You just don't know where you are. Which day is 15th Sha'ban? You don't know where you are. Because according to the Ummul Qura calendar, it's this date. And according to some others who claim, no, sighting was done, it's this date. You have 2 dates. You are the guys who are in confusion, not us guys. Despite your predetermined fixed calendar. This is what happens when you have a system which is flawed, which is inconsistent, which only claims to have sighting 4 months of the year. It's a claim. It really doesn't happen. Like I told you, the official Hilal committees, they don't sight the moon. However, that one person, he sights it, makes the claim, and it's accepted by the judicial authorities. Now you're going to ask that, what do we do when we go for Umrah, Hajj, etc.? Well, first thing you've got to appreciate is, these decisions in Saudi Arabia are supposedly taken by a judicial authority, appointed by the government. Any decision that comes from a judicial authority, we will follow it. We have to follow it. Whether it is incorrect or correct, irrelevant. Whether you feel it's flawed, no. If it's come from the judicial authority, you will follow it. So anybody who's living in Saudi Arabia, anybody who's gone there for Umrah, anybody who's gone there for Hajj, you whilst in Saudi will do what the Saudis do. You're not going to create commotion. You'll be in jail as well otherwise. The second thing is, beyond that, there is no obligation upon us to follow Saudi Arabia. This is what we need to appreciate, that from a purely Islamic Sharia perspective, there is no onus upon us to follow Saudi Arabia. So the question now is, why do we follow Saudi Arabia, etc.? So I will inshallah look at that tomorrow. Some brief history of the moon sighting issue of the UK. Inshallah, we will look at that tomorrow. But just to conclude today, that it's very important that we appreciate facts and we do research. So many people yesterday told me, or 2 days ago, that, I never even knew there was something called Ummul Qura calendar. And, mega tukis dunya meta. Okay, the whole world knows about it, especially with the internet, etc. And just to conclude with one more point, on Saturday, in this country, on Saturday, was it 2nd April? Was Saturday 2nd? Yes, on Saturday 2nd April in the United Kingdom, many people sighted the moon. And you saw probably on WhatsApp, etc., all these photos, images, pictures coming out. I had even some from my area. Somebody from, Lower Bank Road, they sighted the moon and they sent me a picture. Have you ever seen in Saudi Arabia, mass sighting? Hundreds of people going out to sight the moon. You give me any one image of hundreds of people going out to sight the moon. It just doesn't happen there. It just doesn't happen. Sighting the moon should be a privilege. It's an Islamic obligation. However, if you go to a country like South Africa, it's not a Muslim country, but alhamdulillah, they've got an established system. You will see that if according to what we call data, and according to the data, if there is predicted visibility, the word predicted visibility is also very important. Let's say somebody in Saudi Arabia wanted to refine the Ummul Qura calendar. In 2029 it comes to an end. So somebody decides that, look, from 2030 we need to sort out our act. Yes, they can have the Ummul Qura calendar, but the formula should be predicted visibility. That this calendar is based not on the formula that if on the day of new moon conjunction, if moonset is after sunset, even by 1 minute, the next day is the first. Not that formula. The formula should be that if there is predicted visibility, tomorrow is the first. That's what calendars should be based on. And that calendar will be 99.999% accurate. Because it will inshallah always meet with the ru'ya, the naked eye sighting. So, I don't know how I got there, but what was I saying? Yes, South Africa. If you look at South Africa, when there is predicted visibility, especially for Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr, you will see hundreds of people, they go out to sight the moon. Which town is it that's near the sea? They generally go near the sea to sight it. Is it Cape Town? Is that near the sea? Durban. I don't know which one. I've seen images. I've seen hundreds of images basically about this. So you will see not 5 people, not 20 people. I'm talking about 200, 300 people, even more. They will do their iftari on the beach and then they will sight the moon. Have you ever seen anything like this happening in Saudi Arabia? Never. Even in India you have this. People actually go out and they sight the moon in groups of 20, 30, 40, etc. Basically. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to appreciate facts, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to act upon what has been said and to act upon what is according to Sharia. Jazakallah, subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.